Hi, I'm Alison Miller and I'm the Clinical Director at BlueFunkBeat. I'm here to provide you with a guided tour through a new report that we're going to be sending you called An Insider's Review of 29 Leading Antidepressants. It's a 27-page report and there's a lot of material in it. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by it, so I thought I'd provide you with this short video that would give you kind of a guided tour page by page as to what it is that I think you're going to find most valuable and what you can probably just skim. As you open your report, you'll find on the second page a table of contents. The obligatory disclaimer will be on page 3. It's a healthcare organization. Of course there's going to be a disclaimer, right? On page 4 you'll find my bio, a little bit more about me and why it is that I'm doing the work that I'm doing. On page 5 there are 2 quick comments about this report that I think you'll find helpful in getting oriented to the report. On page 6, you'll find 4 things you need to know about antidepressants. 4 basic understandings about antidepressants as a whole, despite there being 7 different classes of antidepressants. There are some similarities among all of them that everyone who's thinking about taking these drugs should know. The next is going to be 7 basic instructions for taking antidepressants. Things about, for instance, if you're pregnant or if you're breastfeeding. All of the same warnings are true for all antidepressants, so we included them all in one place instead of underneath each of the listings of 29 antidepressants. On page 11, you'll find that there's an index of antidepressants listed by their brand name, the name that you're probably most familiar with. So, for instance, if you're looking for Prozac, on this page it'll be listed under P. On the next page, page 12, you'll find a listing of medications by generic name, and Prozac there is listed as fluoxetine under the F. A lot of people don't know the generic name for their medication, so we give you both. I hope you find that helpful. On page 13, is the beginnings of the listings of the medications that you've come to this report to find. What I'd like to do is review what's on this page to make it easiest for you to find the medications and the information that you're looking for. At the top, it says key to drug class. I'll talk about that in just a second, but just below that I want to show you that there is a pattern to how all of these drugs are listed in this guide. You'll see that the very first part of the listing is the generic name. It is in bold and it's underlined, and in this guide it's listed alphabetically. Next to that will be the brand name in parentheses. Behind that is the drug class, and that's what I'm going to go back up here and talk to you about now. Let's go through the 7 drug classes one at a time. The first one that you'll see listed is AK. It stands for aminoketone. It isn't important to understand what an aminoketone is, just that medications that fall into this category are all likely to have the same kind of side effects. The next one is MAOI, which stands for monoamine oxidase inhibitors. These are older medications, and they come with them some pretty significant dietary restrictions that you must adhere to if you're going to be on these medications safely. Your doctor will undoubtedly review with you what those restrictions are before he or she prescribes this medication for you. The next is NDRI, which stands for norepinephrine dopamine reuptake inhibitor. And the one after that is the SNRI, serotonin and norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor. Dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine are all neurotransmitters. What this is trying to get at is which of the neurotransmitters these drugs are specifically targeting. So the SNRI is targeting the serotonin and norepinephrine. The NDRI is norepinephrine and dopamine. And the SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, is mostly targeting serotonin. This is probably the drug class that you've heard the most about because it is Prozac, Zoloft, and Paxil's drug class. The last 2 are similar. The first one is TCA, tricyclic antidepressant. This is an older antidepressant class. They've been around for a long time. Usually they cause mild side effects. If there are going to be side effects at all, it's going to be dry mouth and constipation, things like that. And then the last one is TECA, which is tetracyclic antidepressant. Getting back to the way in which these medications are listed in this guide, as we said before, there's generic name, then there's brand name, then there's drug class, which we just got through reviewing. After that, it lists what this particular medication treats. I know it's going to sound funny, but not all antidepressants actually treat depression. And in many cases, what we have found over the years is that a certain antidepressant also treats other problems, such as anxiety, sometimes pain, or fibromyalgia. Those diagnoses are listed in that part of the listing for each medication. And then the last part on that first line of the listing is dosage ranges. The lowest number is the lowest number that most doctors will start with on that particular medication. And the highest number is considered to be by most to be the highest dosage that any doctor would want to prescribe. After that is going to be the pros of the medication, the positives of it, the cons, and then some comments, which I'll provide based on a lot of my experience, a lot of the things that my patients have said about these medications, or sometimes it's just information such as whether or not they're in generic form or not. The first medication on the list is amitriptyline, also known as Elavil. And after that, you'll see that each one of the medications is listed and separated by this line in between. So all of this is about one medication and all of this is about the next medication. At the very back of this report, there's one last page that I want to call attention to for you. It's additional sets of resources. In case you are receiving this report during a period of time when you are especially low and you're thinking of either killing yourself or you're just in a place where you just wish you would die, I understand how that can be. It's important to seek help. And I've listed on here, if you are from the United States, where you can call. If you are in Canada, where you can find help. If you are in the UK, if you are in Australia, or if you're in another country where you need to reach out to somebody, I've given you some links that as you download this report, you should be able to click on and go immediately to a website that will give you some resources to reach out to. Sometimes it's another website, but most of the time it's a hotline of suicide prevention. The last listing on that resource page is a link over to BlueFunkBeat. I hope you'll take a moment, click on that link, come over and find out more about what we're doing for women who have depression. We have a blog that gets updated regularly. There's lots of new materials that are going to be posted there. We hope you'll become a subscriber and get our regular updates in our newsletter. Well, that's about it. I hope you find this video helpful and that the report is useful for you in your journey to overcoming depression. Thanks.